Welcome everyone to another edition of the Comic Review. My name is Eric, and today we're going to follow Superman on his world tour, farewell tour, as we go to National City for part 3 of the Final Days of Superman in Action Comics number 51. One of the things I didn't bring up during the last two parts of the videos is that we are getting closer to the end of the new 52 Superman. So with issues 51 of Superman and this week's issue 51 of Action Comics, we are getting to the end of those series, as well as all the other series going on. But these two series and this review series in particular are launch titles for the new 52. So it is kind of interesting that they are, ending everything ironically on issue 52 of the new 52, but it is a end of an era, so to speak. So we're almost there to the finish line, so let's go ahead and jump right into issue 51 of Action Comics, Final Days of Superman Part 3. So Superman does fly into National City in search for Supergirl. He has located the DEO facility where Kara's being held, swoops in there, rescues her real quick, and like, I don't know, any teenage girl, they get upset when the parent figure doesn't take the time to find out what's going on and just thinks that they know what's going on best. You do ever find out that Kara is there under her own free will. They are actually helping her try to regain her powers. Apparently during the Savage Dawn storyline at the end of Truth, Kara started losing her powers as well due to the events of Vandal Savage trying to steal Superman's powers to bring that meteor to Earth. Kara hooks up with the DEO and they help her to regain her powers, though the methods that they're using are not fully giving her back her powers. She gets them fully charged for a short burst of time, and then nothing, and then they dwindle back down. So was in the middle of another experiment trying to get her powers restored fully when Superman came in there and went all cousin knows best and got her out of there. Their part of the storyline shifts eventually over to the Fortress of Solitude. So they started to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. Basically is like, there's something I need from you. Basically getting ready to tell her the situation that he's in. And then we kind of actually leave them for majority of the rest of the book. We go over to the creature from the previous issue that fought Batman and Superman, took the blood from Superman when he attacked him. He arrives at the facility in China where Dr. Omen is doing the experiments on what is probably going to be the new Superman from that series, the Chinese Superman, and delivers the blood sample to Dr. Omen. She cuts off the creature's hand, says she's going to eventually grow him back a new one, but, we'll see, I guess, on that one. But she is continuing whatever experiments that she's doing, trying to figure out, I guess, in helping her create this new Superman, she needs the DNA from the old Superman to complete her experiments. The issue then jumps over to the Daily Planet, where not Superman, truck-driving criminal escapee that has Superman's powers, he arrives at the Daily Planet. He's got this weird, double talk thing. It's almost like Gollum and Lord of the Rings, it almost seems. Although I don't think either personality is listening to the other one at this point. But he goes to the Daily Planet basically thinking that he's Clark Kent, more so than in the previous two issues. I don't remember if I talked about them in the previous two issues, but he's slowly taking on the personality of Superman, but it's almost like he's going into the whole realm of what if Superman was a villain, or what if Superman didn't have control over himself, kind of thing, didn't have that self-restraint. So this Superman has no problem with killing guards and employees at the Daily Planet with no regard whatsoever for anything, no remorse. He basically, at one point, he kills one guard, takes his glasses, and walks in like nothing happened, and goes thinking he's Clark Kent, goes to sit at his desk at the Daily Planet and go from there. What's interesting about this is that if he is somehow getting memories and whatnot from Clark, and it's somehow, because like I said, he's looking like his solar flare ability a little bit, I find it funny that the memories he's got and everything come from before Truth. So, he thinks he's working at the Daily Planet, which hasn't been the case for a year, our time, and different stuff like that. So it's just interesting to see how that goes. He ends up killing 3 more guards in the Daily Planet when they're trying to take him down, and ends up actually getting taken down by Lois Lane in a moment of power fluctuation, I guess. She hits him with a taser and knocks him out. So Perry White calls Argus to get the guy taken into custody. So that's where we leave that plot line. Those two plot lines that have been running throughout the series so far. We get back over to Superman and Supergirl. They're in the Fortress of Solitude. He basically, lays it all out for her on what's going on with him, that he's dying. And it basically tells her that he needs somebody to take up his mantle, that he needs somebody to defend the world, to essentially be Superman in his absence. And she eventually accepts. He gives her the keys to the Fortress of Solitude, shows her a hologram of him saying that he'll always be there. So kind of like a Jor-El, I guess, kind of is in like all the other media, where he's this figure that Clark is able to speak to through the Fortress computer. I guess he's got a similar thing for him with Kara going on now and there. The interesting thing about this issue that I find, and I haven't finished with the review yet, so wait a little bit longer for the last page reveal, but the relationship that we see between Clark and Kara, and I've said this in other parts of this video, and I know I've spoken about it before, but it's true here again. The relationship between Clark and Kara in this issue is a more genuine family bond than we have seen again in the New 52. In the whole New 52, unless Supergirl crossed over with Superman in the books. I know during the Hell on Earth storyline they crossed over. During Doomed, the book kind of crossed over, but not really, if I remember correctly. During, I guess, the Psy War, maybe, that whole storyline that went on between those two events. But through most of the New 52, there was no real relationship between Clark and Kara at all. Most of his books, she's not even really there. Again, unless there's a crossover in her book. There's a couple of instances where he showed up, but nothing really major. It's like, her life going through the New 52. There's really no stopping point, and so there was no time to establish that relationship. I feel like Jeff Loeb did a better job of establishing the relationship between Clark and Kara during his run on Batman and Superman, and then his run on Supergirl then has been established in the entirety of the New 52. That's just my opinion, again. And that might be one of the things they're getting back to with the whole legacy thing and everything like that, is just reestablishing the relationships between these characters. I mean, not to shy away from this issue or whatever, but even like old continuity, you had the relationship between Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen. You had the relationship between Barry and Hal. Even the relationship between Batman and Superman. You have all these relationships that just aren't here in the New 52, and this series in particular, for me, is showing that this Final Days of Superman is showing how much that has been absent from the New 52. And it almost makes me wish that A, Tomasi wouldn't leave the Superman books, but B, it makes me wish that we could explore this version of Superman a little bit more, although we are getting to the essentially the final countdown with him in this series at the end of May. But yeah, just that's a little tangent. Again, the relationships between these characters just have been non-existent, and I'm glad that at the 11th hour we're getting a glimpse of it. I wish it would have been there the whole time, but I guess at this point we'll take what we can get. This issue's ending is definitely leading into next week's Superman Wonder Woman issue tie-in, where Wonder Woman shows up at the end of the issue basically saying, when were you going to tell me that you were dying, essentially. So, Clark's got I don't know if they're exes at this point or whatever, but Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship's been strained lately in the last few months of like Truth and whatnot, so he is going to have to apparently face the music of the next issue that he didn't tell his lady that he was dying. It's something you want to keep the open communication, keep the channels open between your significant other. So not telling someone that you're dying is a big faux pas. Just remember that, kids. Always tell your significant other you're dying. The more you know. So tell me what you guys think of part 3 of the Final Days of Superman. Are you enjoying the series so far? Any theories on what's going to happen next? How do you think Wonder Woman's going to take the news of Clark dying? And how do you think, this is one of the things I just thought about, with the new Superman showing up, or the old Superman showing up, the pre-New 52 version, pre-Flashpoint version of Superman, how do you think Wonder Woman's going to deal with the fact that someone else is going to be flying around with the name and the look of her previous boyfriend? Let me know about that in the comments, what you think about that, and any other comments you guys have, any other insights you guys have, let me know in the comments. I just want to thank everyone for watching the video. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.